Now it's time for Toker Talk Radio, the voice of the marijuana nation.
What are you people? On dope?
Where you can toke.
I inhaled frequently.
Or you can talk.
I experimented with marijuana and didn't inhale.
Or you can toke and talk.
10 federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
While we talk about toke on Toker Talk Radio.
So, by the way, when it comes to pot, you know, if you're 40 years old, you live in a log cabin in Oregon, you got 12 giant pot plants in your backyard, have a ball.
Live from beautiful Portland, Oregon at Rolla J Studios.
Hey, this is great. Just not cannabis.
Plus your calls live at 971-533-7111.
They're walking on their pants with their cap on backwards, listening to Enema Man and Snoopy Poop Dog.
What's to keep somebody from getting all potted up on weed and then getting behind the wheel? Gateway theory doesn't work. It's a reality.
Holland, is it real? Don't tease me.
We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years.
And now, here's your host, the guru of ganja graphics, the sultan of sativa statistics, and the worst nightmare of a reefer mad prohibitionist. A polite, perspicacious, productive pothead with a propensity for PowerPoint. Radical Russ Belville.
Welcome back, everybody. Approaching 4:02 here in the Pacific Time Zone. I'm Radical Russ. It's Toker Talk Radio. More highlights from our trip to Seattle and Tacoma coming up next. Right after our first break, Dave Rheins and Garyn Angel. Dave Rheins from Marijuana Business Association, Garyn Angel from Magical Butter. We'll talk to them in Tacoma, as well as take a walk through the Tacoma Dome, give you a look at what the world's largest cannabis business expo was like. But here in this 5 minutes, we're going to say howdy and hello to our in-studio guest. Gordon Green is here today. How you doing, Gordon?
I'm doing great, Russ.
Fantastic to have you here. We've got more new music coming up. We've got Gordon Green's Music Planet that is continuing to play at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific time here every Wednesday on 420radio.org. Anything developing there?
Today's show is the music of Mali, the West African country. It's probably one of the most musically interesting countries in Africa, and it's really where the roots of rock and roll came from. We wouldn't have the Stones or Zeppelin or anything that they spawned without the music from this region of Africa. So it's a great show, and I hope you enjoy it. Yeah,
I always do. Big Daddy Fink is going to be here just a little bit as well. He's in from Georgia, and we were both talking earlier today how much we enjoy your show because, we have pretty eclectic music collections, the two of us, but nothing as eclectic as what you got going on. I hear stuff from Africa, from Asia, from Eastern European countries. It's been a real education.
I got a music bug maybe 20 years ago. The first time I started traveling, and I had a shortwave radio that I would listen to. Started with the news from countries that I had been to, starting with Amsterdam, and making my way here and there, and just started getting turned on to music in different places, and have always enjoyed it. And it's a real pleasure for me to put together the show each week.
Right on. Check it out tonight, 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. The music of Mali. That's M-A-L-I, Mali, the West African country, not M-O-L-L-Y, the club drug. You'll have to tune in on Tuesdays for that. That's, right. That's an Electric Tuesday tune there. So we got great music shows here on 420 Radio, always at 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock every weekday, and different genres by day. So tomorrow on Thursday, you're going to get Big Daddy Fink's Funky Roller Rink, and Timmy and I, a.k.a. Big Daddy Fink, we're discussing the idea of doing a live Funky Roller Rink tomorrow night. So we're still going to work out the details, but I think it's probably a go. So tomorrow we will get loaded up on weed and have ourselves a wonderful Big Daddy Fink Funky Roller Rink. And then on Friday, we got Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Herb will be in. He's got more video. He filmed a great interview with Cavi Gold Records head Scott McKinley. Also got an interview with Mark Hunter from Chimera. And I and Aiko both got video from Chimera's appearance on the McWilliams stage. So I'm sure we'll be focusing a lot on that come this Friday. Now, we also went shopping and got some wonderful, wonderful marijuana for one of our local medical marijuana dispensaries here. And I just wanted to switch to BudCam for a moment. This is one that's called Death Star. So this Death Star, according to the label, is coming in at 29.32% THC. And let's see if I can get that on cam a little better for you. Oops, a little too close.
It is incredibly strong.
It is really strong. But you know what's interesting is I don't like the smell of it as much as I like this other that we got, this Jasmine, which is a really nice smelling strain. I got to learn how to adjust these.
It has a dark coffee smell almost.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. But you can see it got really great trichomes on it. And like I said, 29.32% THC. We got this out of Pure Green on Sandy Boulevard. They had 3 strains there that were above 12% in CBD. One that was like a 6% THC, 12% CBD. I thought that would be something interesting to try. And speaking of marijuana, quick little note I wanted to bring up from Alternet. The surprising everyday ingredient that can reduce pot paranoia. And it's an article that talks about taking a look at peppercorns. For people that experience that anxiety paranoia feeling from marijuana, if they smell or eat peppercorns, chewed on a peppercorn, they had an immediate relief. That's pretty amazing. And Ethan Russo talks about there being a terpenoid entourage effect that might have something to do with this, because pepper contains micrine, alpha-pinene, and the terpenoid caraphyllene. So stuff that comes in marijuana as well. Interesting stuff. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll talk to Dr. Mitch about it on Monday.
Continue the conversation with Radical Russ online. Visit radicalruss.com and email radicalruss@gmail.com.
All right, we got to take a break and pay the bills. Make sure you check out our primary sponsors in these ads, because it's thanks to their generosity we're able to keep 24-hour public nonprofit marijuana legalization radio on the air. Also, all sorts of great developments coming up in the future for 420 Radio. You'll definitely want to stay tuned and know that you were one of the ones who got in on the ground floor. Big Daddy Fink just made it into the studio. We'll be back with some video from the CannaCon, Dave Rheins and Garyn Angel, plus a walkthrough right after this. .420 Radio, your ticket to the Boston Freedom Rally.
Join us for the International Cannabis Business Conference September 13th and 14th in the Portland Ballroom at the Oregon Convention Center. The International Cannabis Business Conference will focus on the emerging cannabis industry in Oregon, the United States, and around the world, putting you in front of the industry's foremost entrepreneurs, political leaders, and attorneys. Also showcasing over 40 cannabis-related industry exhibitors, offering VIP lunches and free nightly networking events. Prepare yourself for America's next great industry.
Professionals Against Prohibition, replaying Thursdays at 10 Pacific.
Hi, I'm Richard Harris. I'm the former Director of Addictions and Mental Health for the state of Oregon. Drug treatment and prevention are woefully underfunded right now. Measure 91 will better fund drug treatment and prevention programs. Marijuana isn't going anywhere. We're not stopping it with the war on drugs. You have to remember that marijuana is a pretty benign drug. It doesn't have the usual dependency features of, say, heroin or alcohol abuse. Now, marijuana feeds drug cartels and fuels violence. We can crack down on that. Take the money from drug cartels and, by the law, spend it on law enforcement, treatment, and education. Criminalizing marijuana is just no way to solve the problem. That's why treatment people like me are supporting Measure 91.
Welcome back, tokers and tokettes and non-toking lovers of liberty. Radical Russ here, 10 after the hour. We're going to go to the business side of our weekend. We had Seattle Hep Fest, which is all about activism and community. And then we had the CannaCon going on the same weekend in Tacoma, just an hour south. It's hard to say how far south it is. It's like 45 minutes, or it can be an hour and a half. It depends on the traffic. Anyway, down south at the Tacoma Dome, they had CannaCon going on for 4 days. We got to spend all Thursday there at CannaCon, where we were able to corral some heavyweights of the industry to talk a little bit about what's happening in marijuana. So we're going to give you this interview that we recorded at CannaCon. It's Dave Rheins from the Marijuana Business Association, Garyn Angel, CEO of Magical Butter, and we'll follow that with a walkthrough at the CannaCon, so enjoy. Sometimes on my own I feel sad. Hi everybody, Radical Russ here at the opening day of CannaCon at the Tacoma Dome with Dave Rheins from MGABA and Garyn Angel from Magical Butter. Gentlemen, are we excited or what?
Oh man, this is it. Unbelievably excited. This is awesome. Great seeing you.
How did this all get put together? Do you guys know? I mean, this is huge.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Bob Smart and I had a conversation in our first meetup at the MJBA about a year ago about the need for a trade show for B2B players to get together, to showcase wares, to talk about best practices, to build the foundations of an industry. A year later, Bob's done it with hundreds of vendors, and it's historical. And folks like Garyn Angel, of course, one of the lead sponsors, makes it all happen.
Yeah, Garyn, I mean, you go coast to coast, and Florida, I was just back from Florida. They're looking at medical marijuana for this November. Oregon, Alaska, D.C. looking to legalize. This is like the new growth industry.
It's incredible. It's a great time to be in this industry, and it's a lot of fun. And the best part about it is people like you guys. This is always...
We have a good time, don't we?
We do have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So check out Magical Butter online, magicalbutter.com, the great botanical extractors. And not only that, one of the things I love about this is people that are in this business that understand the background of it and the history of it and know that there's people out there suffering medically, people suffering out there judicially, and they're contributing to ending that prohibition. I know Magical Butter helped a lot with various patients that needed your guys' product, and you donate a lot of that. Tell a little bit more about how this philanthropy works in the marijuana business.
But, the nice thing about this business is everybody does come together and help. And it's kind of like the way America was, I think, when I was a kid, where, the communities came together and they rallied, and that's what this is all about. And when you do things like working with MJBA and working with other people to help people move to states for access, it's just, it all ties together, and it's a family.
That's right.
It's a family.
That's right. It's a business, I think, but it's a business predicated upon passion and upon personal experience. Almost every one of these vendors has a story of a patient in their life, has a story of disenfranchisement because of federal prohibition, or has a story of being frustrated because they were caught in a dragnet of drug testing at employment. And so what you're seeing is a great growth green rush industry predicated upon good society and really well-intentioned ethical behavior.
Yeah, it's the growth industry of this century, and we're really excited to be a part of it. You can learn more, go to mjba.net as well to be able to network and connect with all the people that you need to know to move forward in this industry. Garyn and Dave, thanks so much for joining us here, and we'll have a great convention.
Right on. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Woo. Right on, man.
Fantastic. Fun.
Yeah. So
thank you. That was fun.
There you go.
Nice.
All right, everybody, Radical Russ, we are back here at the CannaCon at the Tacoma Dome. It's Thursday. It's our opening day of CannaCon, and as you can see here, we've got a line of folks that are ready to come in. We're going to just head into the dome here and see what we can see, so come on this way.
Russ, you got the cameras on the wrong side of you.
I finally got someone to carry one. All right, so making our way in here to CannaCon, the first couple of booths we can see at the Tacoma Dome. We'll see if we can find someone to talk to.
I don't know.
Got some great hats here. Chiba Chews, got the high CBD chew coming out.
Jeff Hansen, why do I know you?
Good stuff.
I'm not Jeff, I'm just one of his business partners. I've had two as a friend to work today. But you probably, if you're on the blog.
I was taking a look at this stuff. This is the new extractors. You know, lots of folks are doing VHO and that kind of stuff. And this is closed loop systems that keep all of that explosive gas contained, so you don't have to worry about the occasional explosion. Let's see if we can talk to one of these guys. What they got to say? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Russ Mello from 420 Radio. Just wanted to see if you want to talk a little bit about your business, your extractors here.
Sure, so basically this is a high quality closed loop oil extractor. We have a patent pending dry ice sleeve that you pack dry ice into with a mixture of isopropyl alcohol.
Let's see if we can see down in there.
And that will basically do an inline winterization and de-wax on your material, freezing all your plant fats and lipids in the tube. When you go to extract, it'll collect on a paper filter in the bottom, giving you a clear, better product to test with a lower parts per million. And it comes out really clear and nice. We've also been experiencing much higher yields in combination with the dry ice.
Fantastic. All right, so what kind of ratio, if someone's putting in their matter, how much are they going to get back out?
Depends on your material, but the last seminar we did, we do a live extraction once a month at our shop. We pulled 24.6% in front of everybody.
There you go, almost a quarter. That's fantastic. So Sub-Zero Scientific, SubZeroScientific.com, and like me, from Portland, Oregon.
Right.
Nice talking to you.
You too.
All right, check them out.
Thanks, man.
All right, let's check around, see what else we can see around here. In fact, we'll start in this first aisle over here. Let's see what we got.
I got the duct tape and what's up, guys?
What up? Pretty wide range. Here's a group I'm really glad to see here is that one of the problems that we've got in the marijuana industry is the reluctance of banks to want to take on any sort of credit accounts, loans, anything like that. So U.S. Debit Services is here. Let's see if we can get a look at what they've got to offer. Currently talking to someone. We'll get someone else here as well. This looks interesting. Hi, guys. Hey, how you doing? Russ Mello from 420 Radio. We're just getting a look at some of the vendors and some of the differences, different industries that are involved here, and security. You're our first security guy, so it looks like armored trucks to guards to everything, huh?
Yeah, we provide all sorts of transport security, site security, everything you need for anything related to cannabis. I mean, there's a lot of laws involved in that, so we were finding workarounds, and hopefully we'll be able to stop, and provide everybody security for, so they can sleep safe, knowing that their product's safe, that their area's safe, their employees are safe, everything like that.
Do you ever have current or former cops that work for you as guards?
Most of our employees are former military or former policemen.
Wow, it's kind of an interesting irony to think that these soldiers and police officers were involved in eradicating cannabis, and now they're involved in guarding it.
Oh yeah.
Did they mention that to you at all? Or?
Well, yeah. Well, heck, when I was over in Afghanistan, we burned down quite a few hemp fields because they were in our way. So.
Oh, wow. And stood downwind, I assume.
Oh, definitely. Of course, you saw all the Afghanistan soldiers running over to the other side. But,
Right on. Well, it's scarmilitary.com, SCAR, and does that SCAR stand for?
Special Covert Advanced Resolutions.
There we go. Special Covert Advanced Resolutions. SCARmilitary.com. Thanks, guys, for talking to us.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right, let's check it out.
Thank you.
Let's go over here to Debit Services. Hi there.
That is the smallest little camera.
420 Radio. And I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the whole banking problem with the marijuana business. That's probably why you're here, right?
Yes.
Tell us about your services.
What we do is we have a cashless ATM where a customer can come in and swipe their card and move their money from their bank account to the dispensary.
That's fantastic. So, unlike, I've gone to a lot of dispensaries where they'll have, an ATM there, and I've actually been to them where they were out of cash. they run out of cash those days. Right. You don't have to worry about that with this.
No. You can also get cash back.
Oh, you can get cash back too. That's fantastic. U.S. Debit Services, it's
USDebitServices.com. You can get a hold of Chip at US.
You're really clouding the energy in this room right now.
Hey, that time means it's 4:20 here in the Pacific time zone. And what better 4:20 could we have? We got Big Daddy Fink in the house. We got Gordon Green in the house. And we got Dabs in the house. We'll be right back with a little higher nanogram limit, I suppose. See you in a bit.
420 Radio, freeing your mind 24 hours a day. The International Cannabis Business Conference takes place September 13th and 14th at the Portland Ballroom in the Oregon Convention Center in Portland, Oregon. Featured speakers include Oregon Senator Floyd Przansky, U.S. Congressman Earl Blumenauer, Daily Dish blogger Andrew Sullivan, author Doug Fine, and Harborside CEO Steve D'Angelo. To learn more, visit our website at International.
I don't use marijuana, but as a teacher of 36 years, I can tell you lots of other people use it. I don't believe in prohibition. I don't think it works. Prohibiting it hasn't stopped anybody from getting a hold of it. I would like to see it regulated so that maybe kids can't get a hold of it so easily. I know they get a hold of it now very easily. I support a new approach to marijuana. I support legalizing it. It's with us. It's not going to go away. And if we can get money through the taxation, we can also educate our kids about it. That's why I support it.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson. Alcohol prohibition didn't work in the 1920s, and marijuana prohibition isn't working today. It's time we stopped arresting responsible marijuana smokers. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
At Herbie's Cannabis Seeds, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best quality seeds from the world's most respected cannabis seed producers, all at the lowest online prices. You can find Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. All cannabis seeds are sold as souvenirs and as a means of preserving cannabis genetics. Herbie's Seeds in no way intends to condone, promote, or incite the use of illegal or controlled substances. We strongly urge all prospective customers to check their national laws prior to placing an order. Herbie's Seeds at herbiesheadshop.com. Proud sponsors of The Russ Belville Show and 420 Radio. Are you a hypocrite? If you live a closeted cannabis lifestyle, you are. Read about 7 people living a closeted cannabis lifestyle who are on the verge of coming out in The Hypocrites by Mara K. Eaton. Available at areyouahypocrite.net. You can purchase the book on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, also available on iTunes. Check out Mara K. Eaton on Facebook as well. Learn more at areyouahypocrite.net.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Irie Wednesday, featuring reggae, ska, and other world music genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
Welcome back, everybody. 24 after the hour, and what a joy this 20 after break is, because we have got our Wednesday and our Thursday show hosts in the studio. Big Daddy Fink is here, but the main guy we got to go to is Gordon Green, who's here with Gordon Green's Music Planet. How you doing, Gordon?
Doing great, Rust. Just left the ground about 5 seconds ago.
Always great to get on the air after a big old hit, huh?
Man.
This is the way we do it here at 420 Radio and Rolla J Studios. So welcome to Portland.
It's been quite a welcome.
So for today's song, we've got an artist that we've played before, and I love the first song we played from him, Manu Chao. Tell us a bit about this track.
This is a famous track, Clandestino. That was his first international hit after he had a band that a lot of people know called Manu Negra. which was a punk band. And they have several songs that people might recognize even if you don't listen to world music. Anyway, Clandestino was his first international hit after leaving, after the disbanding of Mano Negra. And this is a live recording. I think it's from Mexico. And Mano Chao is a good band for world music beginners.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very accessible, very enjoyable music. And, of course, this is all a part of what we do on Gordon Green's Music Planet at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Every Wednesday night. Also heard on the weekends as well. And for this week, we have got some music coming from West Africa. Tell folks about that.
Yeah, it's the country of Mali. Small country. It's probably the most musically interesting country in West Africa. And lots of different genres. You'll hear there's Tuareg music, which are Saharan nomadic tribes, and their music has become more popular in recent years. You'll hear a track from a great band called Tamacrest, and as I was saying in the Russ Belville show, it's really the roots of rock and roll, and we wouldn't have a lot of the music we have today without this music from Africa.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And how about yourself? I know you're here in Portland for the moment. Where do your travels take you next?
Going to go to Canada and take care of some business for about 10 days. Then jet back to see a concert with my father. And then I'll be off to Denver for about 8 weeks. And we'll see after that.
The little legalization at a mile high there, so I hope you enjoy that. Gordon Green in the studio today for Gordon Green's Music Planet. Thanks for joining us here.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
This is music from Manu Chao. This is Clandestino, live.
argentino, uruguayo clandestino, colombiano, marihuana ilegal. Scalcasco Mayola.
420 Radio, your ticket to Seattle Hemp Fest. The Marijuana Business Association, or MJBA, are proud sponsors of the Russ Belville Show. It is the mission of the MJBA to establish integrity and legitimacy, create common market standards, provide market intelligence, and develop best ethical business practices for participants in the emerging legal marijuana industry, including commercial hemp, medical marijuana, and recreational marijuana for adults. Learn more about the Marijuana Business Association and visit mjba.net to join today. That's mjba.net. The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, treat law enforcement with respect and stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney." Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com. Drug Truth Network Century of Lies with Dean Becker from Houston, Texas, replaying Mondays at 11 Pacific on 420radio.org. You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, we've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs, we've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com and follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher.
My name's Tara Selzen, and I've worked in environmental conservation for many years. I'm a big supporter of Measure 91 because our current marijuana laws have failed us. We have the opportunity this fall to vote to support legalizing, taxing, and regulating marijuana in Oregon. There are many obvious reasons for reforming marijuana here in Oregon. There are over 12,000 arrests and citations each year. That's one every 45 minutes. I think those are the wrong priorities for our public safety. And there are also many other unintended consequences that come with the current system. By treating adult marijuana use as a crime, we're forcing those who grow marijuana to exist in the black market. That means they go out into our natural areas, wilderness, and forests to grow marijuana. These illegal marijuana grows pose a serious environmental problem because they don't belong in our forests and natural areas. They remove vegetation, they harm our habitat, and they hurt wildlife. Regulated marijuana would be grown like normal crops, but illegal marijuana growers are tapping into our fragile creeks and streams and actually dry them up. It's not just outdoor marijuana growing that poses a threat to our environment. Illegal indoor growing does as well. Because they can't take advantage of energy conservation programs, indoor growing wastes a tremendous amount of power. There are a lot of reasons to support regulating marijuana with Measure 91. Protecting our environment is one of them.
The truth. Entirely legitimate topic for debate.
You have offended my family.
Hey, this is great, man.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
I know nothing.
I support a change in law to end federal criminal penalties for possession of up to 1 ounce of marijuana.
We don't need no stinking budget.
Homosexuality, immorality in general.
Down the centuries, you have slurred the meaning of the words "we, the people."
Be warned, this is not your mother's marijuana.
You could ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
All right, welcome back, folks. 35 after the hour. And, you know, I've been following for the past 8 or 9 days the goings-on in Ferguson, Missouri, where there has been the first noticing of militarized police by the mainstream media. Something we've been talking about here in drug reform circles for a decade or longer. But now people are starting to notice it because it's showing up on their nightly news. They're starting to see tear gas being deployed against citizens trying to protest. They're seeing pepper spray and rubber bullets and armored personnel carriers blocking their streets. And they're starting to wonder just what kind of police state have we devolved into. And as we take a look at this, I think it's important to get the opinions of police officers, find out what they think about what's going on. And, you know, we talk to a lot of police officers on our regular Cops Say Legalized Drugs segment. But this opinion comes to us from the Washington Post. And it's written by Dr. Sunil Dutta, or Dutta, one or the other. He's a PhD. He's a professor of Homeland Security at Colorado Technical University and has been an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department for 17 years. This is the most read op-ed piece that's on the Washington Post website right at the moment and has well over 5,000 comments on it. And it is entitled, "I'm a Cop. If you don't want to get hurt, don't challenge me. It's not the police, but the people they stop who can prevent a detention from turning into a tragedy." Now, remember, we're talking about this in the context of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager being shot to death in the street of Ferguson, Missouri, 2 Saturdays ago, as eyewitnesses said that he had his hands up and was surrendering. So apparently it's all his fault because he initiated some sort of confrontation. Now, the eyewitness friend and the folks that saw him walking down the street say that the two guys were walking down the street when the cop rolled up in the car, told them to get the fuck on the sidewalk. And then when they didn't, allegedly the cop reached out and grabbed Michael Brown by the neck. Supposedly Michael Brown and the cop had some sort of scuffle in the car. Gunshot went off in the car. Michael Brown backed away from it. And the cop got out of the car and fired another couple of times. Michael Brown stops, falls to his knees, hands up, gets shot a few more times. So apparently, if they want to prevent that from turning into a tragedy, they need to do exactly what they're told. Let me get to some of what he wrote. In here, Sunil Dutta writes that regardless of what happened with Mike Brown, in the overwhelming majority of cases, it is not the cops, but the people they stop who can prevent detentions from turning into tragedies. You know, like Jose Guarana, the former Marine who was shot 72 times by cops in his own home when they were serving a no-knock warrant, and he thought he was being burglarized and went for his AR-15 that was later found to have never been taken off safety, by the way. So he in the middle of the night during the no-knock raid, he should have just done what he was told. He could have prevented his detention from turning into a tragedy. This is Sunil Dutta writing to continue, and this is the big paragraph that's getting all the attention. Even though it might sound harsh and impolitic, here is the bottom line. If you don't want to get shot, tased, pepper sprayed, struck with a baton, or thrown to the ground, just do what I tell you. Don't argue with me. Don't call me names. Don't tell me that I can't stop you. Don't say I'm a racist pig. Don't threaten that you'll sue me and take away my badge. Don't scream at me that you pay my salary, and don't even think of aggressively walking towards me. Most field stops are complete in minutes. How difficult is it to cooperate for that long? Just do as you're told, and the cops might not kill you. Just let them abrogate your rights. Just let them detain you without cause. Let them stop and frisk you if you're a young black male. Let them stop and frisk you way more disproportionately than a guy like me gets stopped and frisked by cops. If you happen to be driving while black, just, accept that you're going to be asked to step out of the car and perhaps get on your knees and pushed up against the car. And if you're somebody who's got long hair or tattoos or lots of piercings, some gauges, and maybe you got some Grateful Dead stickers or some metal stickers on your car, maybe a normal sticker, you should just accept that you're going to get pulled over more often. You should just comply, do what you're told so that you don't get killed. Because really, when cops are killing people, it's their fault. Now he goes on to write, I know it is scary for people to be stopped by cops. I also understand the anger and frustration if people believe they have been stopped unjustly or without a reason. I am aware that corrupt and bully cops exist. I also believe every cop should use a body camera to record interactions with the community at all times. Every police car should have a video recorder. And you don't have to submit to an illegal stop or search. You can refuse consent to search your car or home if there's no warrant, though a pat-down is still allowed if there is a cause for suspicion. Like being a black kid walking down the street. Always ask the officer whether you are under detention or are free to leave. Unless the officer has a legal basis to stop and search you, he or she must let you go. Finally, cops are legally prohibited from using excessive force. The moment a suspect submits and stops resisting, the officers must cease use of force. Like the 400-pound fella, I forgot his name, unfortunately, who was choked to death by an illegal chokehold by the NYPD, who was face first into the concrete and being held down by 4 people who was saying he could not breathe. Yeah. As soon as he submitted and stopped resisting, those officers had to cease using force. You see? They didn't cease soon enough to stop from asphyxiating the poor guy, but they did eventually stop. Once he was dead, they stopped. So they did stop. And apparently we're supposed to be able to refuse consent, don't submit to illegal stops or searches. But if the cop wants to do it anyway, just let him. You have to just let him. Here's what he says. This is actual quote here. Quote. But if you believe or know that the cop stopping you is violating your rights or is acting like a bully, I guarantee that the situation will not become easier if you show your anger and resentment. Do what the officer tells you, and it will end safely for both of you. We have a justice system in which you are presumed innocent. If a cop can do his or her job unmolested, the system can run its course. Later, you can ask for a supervisor, lodge a complaint, or contact a civil rights organization if you believe your rights were violated. Feel free to sue the police. Just don't challenge a cop during a stop. Because, if you're a black kid in Missouri, you're 18 years old, you've got all the resources you need to be able to, file complaints, speak to supervisors. And certainly they'll take your complaint seriously because, cops really trust young black kids when they mention, how much they're being bullied and threatened and having their rights violated by police officers in Missouri. That's quite common, I understand. Gee, what is everybody all upset about, huh? And feel free to sue the police. Just feel free. Go ahead, sue the police. Well, let me tell you a little story about suing the police. This one comes from our good friend Jacob Sullum out at reason.com. It's a story entitled, New York Cops Know People Have a Right to Record Them, They Just Don't Care. Now, it starts off by talking about how the NYPD sent a memo to its police officers reminding them that members of the public are legally allowed to record police interactions. Intentional interference, such as blocking or obstructing cameras or ordering the person to cease, constitutes censorship and also violates the First Amendment. This was a memo written out to the NYPD, and part of the reason why is Brooklyn resident Dick George filed a lawsuit, federal lawsuit, for his First Amendment rights. In the lawsuit, it says, on or about the evening of June 14th, 2012, plaintiff was sitting in his motor vehicle parked at or near the intersection of Ocean Avenue and Albemarle Road, Brooklyn, New York, when he observed Lieutenant Ferber, Sergeant Golden, and Officer Robinson exit their unmarked police vehicle and approach 3 young black youths congregated on the sidewalk and immediately began to frisk and search them. Plaintiff took photographs of this encounter between the defendant police officers and the 3 youths with his cellular telephone. As the defendant police officers were returning to their vehicle, plaintiff commented to one of the youths that, quote, in situations like that, next time make sure and ask to see a badge number or some identification from the police, end quote, or words to that effect. Having apparently heard what plaintiff had said, Lieutenant Ferber retorted, what did he just say to them? Get our badge number. Let's go get him. Or words to that effect. The defendant police officers then entered their police vehicle and began following the plaintiff's vehicle. In the story, it continues that after they stopped his car, they roughed him up, handcuffed him, took him to the precinct house, strip searched him, locked him in a cell, and charged him with disorderly conduct. When he got his cell phone back after being released with a desk appearance ticket, he found the photos of the stop and frisk encounter had been deleted. According to the complaint, the cops repeatedly told him he was getting what he deserved for, quote, being an activist. Ferber allegedly said something like, this is the lieutenant, said something like, now we're going to give you what you deserve for meddling in our business, and when we finish with you, you can sue the city for $5 million and get rich. We don't care, end quote. Well, he did sue the cops, and the New York Daily News is reporting that there was a settlement. It wasn't $5 million, though. $125,000. To the New York Police Department and their budget, the city of New York, $125,000 is a slap on the wrist for what they did to this guy and what they did as a chilling effect for all citizen journalists who might want to record how the cops are roughing up young black kids around the neighborhood. And to so blatantly and obviously state that they were abridging our First Amendment rights in this way. Furthermore, according to the lawsuit, the supervisory staff of the NYPD has consistently failed to investigate allegations such as those contained herein and to discipline officers who have violated NYPD guidelines. The investigation of these incidents by central office and or supervisory staff reflects a bias in favor of uniformed officers. Furthermore, officers and staff who are known to have violated an individual's civil rights in one command are often transferred by the NYPD to another command rather than be disciplined, demoted, or fired by the NYPD. Obviously, a playbook they took from the Catholic Church. So, when this cop over here in the Washington Post says, do what the officer tells you and feel free to sue the police, we see how that turns out. In a case where the guy has a major case against the cops. It's $125,000. Those cops get to keep their job. They're never punished in any way. That's the taxpayers of New York paying that $125,000. That didn't come out of their paychecks. So maybe if we just started punishing these cops individually in civil lawsuits, maybe if some of them were losing their jobs, they'd take our civil rights a little more seriously. But until then, it's going to be the status quo, folks. You can't resist and you can't sue.
The beginning of the end started in 1996 when California legalized weed for so-called medical purposes. 16 years later, Washington and Colorado legalized it outright and let people sell it from storefronts. And what has been the result?
The generation of millions of dollars in tax revenue for the states and creation of hundreds of new jobs in a growing multi-billion-dollar industry?
No. Well, yes, but at what cost?
Let's see. The cost of all that police time and money that's now spent going after real criminals and prisons with enough room to hold them all?
No. Well, yes, but look at what it's done to the people.
You mean that fewer of them are dying of alcohol, tobacco, and prescription-related causes since they've switched to cannabis, and many more are receiving medical benefit from a cheap, non-toxic healing herb?
No. Well, yes to all of that, but I can smell pot from my backyard. And I can't tell my kids not to do it because it's illegal.
420 Radio, your ticket to the High Times Cannabis Cups. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Very effective. Check out lushledlighting.com right now.
What the authorities should do is decriminalize pot use. You want to do it in your house, not bother anyone? Fine. Go outside with a joint or a pipe, you pay a fine.
The pistachio. Green, natural, and available without prescription in all 50 states. He's fine.
I swear sometimes you're taking me for granted. And I swear sometimes you're more.
Welcome back, everybody. 50 after the hour, winding things up here on Toker Talk Radio with a little bonus ranting. Oh my gosh, I got word today through the Willamette Week and through my contacts in the Oregon marijuana reform movement. This was posted today in Willamette Week. The title is Just Say No, Redo. Taxpayers will pay for an anti-drug campaign. Time to hit just before the November vote on legalizing pot. And you know, of course, that the Joker to my Batman is involved with this. Kevin Sabet is involved in this. He'll be touring Oregon on the taxpayer dime in the week before we get our ballots mailed to us. And by the way, folks, if you don't know, Oregon is a vote-by-mail state. We don't have polling places. All our voting is done by mail. Or you can drop it off in the drop box. But whatever, it's all by mail, right? So a tour across the state starring Kevin Sabet, co-headlined here. It's coinciding, I should say, with a federal anti-drug tour that's also going to happen in the week before we get our ballots mailed to us. And I just love this story because one of the things Kevin Sabet always likes to say when he's up in his debates, and he said this in the last debate with Judge Jim Gray, right? He always gets really antsy when you start calling him out and calling the anti-drug movement out on their ties to big pharma, to the alcohol industry, to all of the competitors of marijuana. He always gets in a tizzy when you say that. No, we're an all-volunteer organization. No, we don't take a dime for this. We're all volunteer. And the other point they like to make is how the drug reform movement is pumping millions of dollars, I say, into the pro-marijuana campaigns so they can become big marijuana and they can make all this money, and it's all about the money. They're pumping so much money into this campaign, and us poor family grassroots anti-drug organizations, my God, we just can't compete with the drug barons and their money. That's one of their calling cards, right? And yet they get a check from the taxpayers to take their little road show around. You know how long I've been trying to put together a little road show for the state of Oregon to promote marijuana legalization? Well, it's going to happen. Whenever Kevin Sabet shows up in this state, I will be there. So we will make that happen. Trust me on that. We're going to talk to a few of the dispensaries in town, too, to get some sponsorship for this. But in this article, Just Say No, Redo, points out that a recent poll shows that 8 out of 10 Oregonians believe it's a matter of when and not if voters erase marijuana prohibition. The City Club of Portland has endorsed Measure 91. We, of course, been running the campaign from the retired Oregon Supreme Court judge. But the opposition campaign is being headed by the Oregon district attorneys, the sheriffs. And right now our polls are 51% for and 42% against. That's really close. We got to get a little better than that. So we've got a big ad campaign coming up, $2.3 million that we're going to be banking on television ads. But Josh Markey, who's with the head of the Oregon District Attorneys Association, says there are plans to invest in the No on 91 campaign after an overwhelming majority of its measures voted to oppose Measure 91. Markey says that Measure 91 allows people to grow too much marijuana. 4 plants per house and a half pound per person. Ooh, so much marijuana. And of course, Markey will join the taxpayer-funded tour that features Kevin Sabet. And we all know about Kevin Sabet and his Project Samuel, Smart Approaches to Marijuana Use Except Legalization. Plus, the second advocacy group he just launched after the New York Times came out for legalization. That one's called Grass is Not Greener. And he got his quote into the Willamette Week here, his typical quote, heard this many times. If this were just about adults wanting to smoke a joint in their basement, okay, but we're creating an industry that's similar to tobacco. But Kevin, you're not okay with the adult smoking marijuana in his basement. because that adult smoking marijuana in the basement has to get it from somewhere. He has to grow it himself, in which case he gets major jail time and prison time and fines for being a cultivator. Or he has to buy it from someone, thus propping up that big cartel illegal market, where people also are imprisoned and go to jail. So you may be okay with the guy smoking a joint in his basement, but by being okay with that, you are indirectly supporting the very things you oppose. You're supporting the crime, the imprisonment, the devastation to the community that prohibition brings us. Of course, his idea here is that there'll be the big marijuana industry that's going to target kids, even though we've seen in Colorado that fewer kids, and unlike almost every other state in the country, the rate of use by kids is down in Colorado from 1 out of 4 using monthly to 1 out of 5 using monthly. Gone from 25%, 24 point something, 9.8, something like that, 24.8 I think it is, down to 20%. Even though they've seen their perception of risk go down as well. Kids in Colorado are increasingly less likely to think that regular pot use is risky. However, they're more likely to think so than the general U.S. kid is. That's right. Kids in Colorado think pot use is worse for you than kids nationwide, and yet kids in Colorado are using pot less. And they're finding it harder to access. You ask them on the surveys about how is it easy or fairly easy to get a hold of marijuana. It's gotten easier for U.S. kids. It's gotten harder for Colorado kids. You want to make marijuana unappealing to kids? Make it a boring adult thing. Make it uncool. Already, medical marijuana made it uncool. We didn't see a rise in teen marijuana use rates in the medical marijuana states. It's Granny's glaucoma medicine. How cool is that? Ooh. So anyway, this tour that they're going on, this is funded by the Federal Drug-Free Community Support Program. It's not clear how much taxpayer money will be spent on the tour. Planners say each county will foot the bill separately. The Jefferson County portion of the tour, for example, will run about $15,000 for a 2-day conference, half of which will be dedicated specifically to marijuana. So we're going to spend $7,500 in a Jefferson County. We got, 30-some counties in Oregon? Interesting. So what are we talking? $200,000 we end up spending by the end of this? $250,000 by the end of this? While the tour is conveniently timed to begin 2 weeks before voters receive their ballots, writes Willamette Week, organizers insist it's not meant to be seen as opposition to Measure 91. No. Perish the thought. Has nothing to do with the fact that there's a very liberal marijuana legalization measure on the ballot. It's complete coinky-dink. Cindy Brockett, the prevention coordinator at Best Care Treatment Services in Madras, that would be a rehab that makes money from people being sentenced on having illegal marijuana, says, quote, "We're not political. We deal with educating the public and helping them understand the harmful effects of drugs." Anthony Johnson, chief petitioner of Yes on 91, says the tour appears to skirt campaign finance law, if not outright break it. Quote, "It's a misuse of federal taxpayer dollars to campaign against a state ballot measure days before people start voting on it. Calling this an education campaign is preposterous, and if it's legal, it shouldn't be." Well said, Anthony. Folks, that's all the time we got for today. Thanks for joining us. For Big Daddy Fink and Gordon Green, I'm Radical Russ. Stay tuned. We've got the Gordon Green's Music Planet coming up next. Music of Molly.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
Thanks again, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow. Till next time, take care of each other, tokers.
You take a seat,